This is a really important area for us to have growth in. Being able to understand data, to interpret it from Te Ao Māori worldview, for us to define what is the data that is collected and how is it relevant to where we're heading and our own aspirations.
We understand the importance of data, but it's only useful if you know how to use it and you have the skills and the expertise. Data needs to be wrangled and flipped around, and all very well and good for it to sit in government, but actually our communities need that level of skill and expertise as well.
There is a skill shortage for Māori working in data spaces, and I think that's just because the way that the government prioritise funding and resourcing for Māori services and providers. So sometimes when we have skill shortages of Māori within data spaces, we need to bring in tauiwi to fill those gaps. And the important part there is that we bring them in a capacity that we are able to learn and utilise that skill and bring that into our own people. In 2016, Tahi were successful in one of the pilot partnership programs with Stats New Zealand, and through that I was able to spend about 2 days every fortnight over a 6-month period learning everything that I could at the Wellington office. We were working on our Kāinga Whānau baseline survey, and they opened the doors pretty much. So I was able to follow that piece of mahi around the whole building and spend time with experts in various departments. And the really cool thing about that was I took all of that learning back and I was able to apply that to many other projects at Te Tahi and work with other kaimahi and share that learning experience. I think before going to STATS, I didn't even realise that there was a whole data continuum. I just thought one person or one team progressed a project end to end, and it's not like that at all. So the people who determine what's important to collect are not the same people that determine what those insights will look like. You know, I was able to work with every single role right from that first bit of the continuum, and that's actually how we've structured our team now at Te Tahi as well. You don't need to apply everything that you experience when you're working with government agencies, but there's a lot of good stuff there and a lot of good people working in those spaces as well.
Pretty special time, to be honest. I mean, some of the things that we learn from working with our whānau who come to our office is just how stale government can be sometimes. You get that breath of fresh air from our whānau that come into the office and they just breathe life into those experiences with our staff, and it's a real two-way collaboration. We learn an enormous amount from Felicity and from Te Tihi, as well as handing on some capability for their person to do their best work.
It was a great relationship because it wasn't about Statistics New Zealand taking knowledge and or information from us. It was about them opening their doors and for us to have access to the skills and attributes that they hold and all of the mātauranga, and to utilise that for the benefit of our community. That was a very visionary relationship, and hats off to those people who were leading that.
I think it's really, really important to make the distinction that for government, it's not for us to determine what Māori data sovereignty is. And we know our place in that conversation is to enable and support those aspirations among iwi Māori to achieve mana motu hake through data. So for us, it's around ensuring that we listen and we hear and understand what those aspirations are, and then we get in behind them and lean in, support, and ensure that, I guess, we're enabling a system that is treaty-centred. That's a key part of the conversations that we're regularly reminded of by our iwi and Māori data partners. We know that there is a huge need out there to build capability among our people, but one of the things I think that is really important is getting alongside iwi who already have data strategies in place and learning from each other. As well as learning from, there's a fabulous tool that Stats supported the Data Iwi Leaders Group, who designed and developed Te Whata, which is a bespoke iwi data product. And I think if our capability should start anywhere for iwi Māori, it should be there, using the tools that have been specifically designed. And yes, of course, Government has a role to play in building capability, and we're finding our way towards making that more accessible. During lockdown and the response to COVID in Aotearoa New Zealand, one of the things that we saw in action that brought to light the importance of data was we saw iwi and Māori organisations mobilising and supplying whānau with the services they needed. We know that our people have the ability to use data, we know it, and we know that data helps to save lives, and our people were using that data to do exactly that, to look after their whānau, their hapu, and their iwi more broadly. So we absolutely understand the need for communities to have that data at their fingertips for times like that, and in the future even more so. Change is coming, we know that, but it will take time. You know, the machinery of government takes time for these things to become embedded and normalised. But as long as we don't see, as long as governments see data sovereignty as a threat, then we'll always be on two sides of the fence. Actually, it's an opportunity to understand the needs from communities to have greater control of their data and therefore their destinies.